Welcome everyone to Morning Flow. My name is Mark Cormier. I'll be joined by my wife Kathy soon enough, but we can get going as the sun rises. And they have to shut the shades, it gets pretty bright. So, finding the top of your yoga space if you're practicing with a mat, top of your mat. If not, finding a place on the floor where you can move without impediment. Finding our feet. From our feet, finding our legs. From our legs, finding our spine. Relax shoulders tall through the crown of the head with a slight tuck at the chin as we start to take our attention inward. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of your thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger. Starting our practice this morning, just watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out, arriving here in our yoga space, ready for a morning yoga practice. From this place of just watching your breath, I invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to engage your core as you draw the navel in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, almost like squeezing a tube of toothpaste from all sides, squeezing a little more air out, also providing structural support for our body as we move through these shapes and as we move through these sequences. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a go-to breath in many flow practices. A slight constriction of the base of your throat to add a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of our breath be a focus for your practice. Always coming back to that sound and feel, often compared to the sound of the waves of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. To this Ujjayi breath, I'll invite you to find Jiva Bandha, tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind your teeth. Trying to keep that connection throughout the practice. Keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our body. And finally adding a slight smile to your face with your lips closed. I call it a Mona Lisa smile. Opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, hands by our side. Warming up our shoulders, keeping it simple. I'll invite you to bring the arms up and over the head. On the exhale, arms back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing the arms up. Exhaling, arms down. 1 more time. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Adding a forward fold and a back bend, half sun salutation. Inhaling, arms up. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to lift chin and tail as we arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine as we fold again. Inhaling, neutral spine, arms out to the side and then on up. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to lift chin and tail. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, righting the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. And let's do 1 more like that. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, righting the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Surya Namaskar A with or without vinyasa, yogi's choice. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, grounding down through the hands, either finding your down dog and holding, or cycling through Chaturanga, yoga push-up. Inhaling into up dog or cobra. And then exhaling back to your down dog. And holding for 5 or 6 breaths. Show you the sunset while we reconfigure the room a little bit here. As we hold down dog, deep, full breaths. Finding that full body breath. Feeling the Ujjayi breath as it flows through the constriction of your throat. That slight constriction. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, rising on up, arms out to the side, and then overhead. And then on the exhale, hands by your side. Sorry about this. Second one, just like the first. Inhaling, arms up and over the head. On the exhale, folding. Inhaling, finding length. On the exhale, folding again, or grounding on down, and either stepping or jumping back, either cycling through vinyasa or finding your down dog. And again, take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to bring your attention to your hands. Lots of space between each finger, grounding down a little more predominantly between the thumb and the forefinger as we draw the energy up from the floor. Shoulders engaged, either keeping your neck relaxed and your head heavy, or lengthening through all sides of the neck as you look back towards your navel. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or maybe take a jump to the front of your neck. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. And let's do one more. We'll add a moving plank into the sequence. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. As we hold down dog, or feeling free to hold down dog, if you want to generate a little more heat, a little more tapas, we can inhale forward to the top of a push-up, and then on the exhale, back to down dog. Inhaling forward to the top of a push-up, and then back to down dog. This next one will hold. Inhaling forward to the top of a push-up, exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. And on that next exhale, lifting it back to down dog and holding for another couple of breaths. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump to the front of your neck. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, neutral spine, hands over head pose. On the exhale, standing tall. So Namaskar B. It starts with a chair, knees over toes, hands over head. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged to support a back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Now looking between the hands, bringing that right foot on through, landing it lightly, spinning the back heel down. Hands can always find the hips as you find your balance. And then arms up and over the head as we find our warrior one. And then riding the exhale down as you find your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. From down dog, second side. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot on through. Finding your balance again. Hands can always find the hips. And then up and over the head for our warrior one. And then riding that next exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Take your time. Find your flow. Always balancing your effort with your ease. And that's one of the things that makes it yoga. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Adding that extra breath, exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged to support a back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine. Let's do one more set on the scar B. We'll add a hip opening sequence into the mix. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a forward fold. Take a breath to find length as you look long. And then on the exhale, back to down dog, as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back. From down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the, right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. I want to keep that right shoulder right where it is. Stacking the hips, lifted leg straight. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that right hip. And then looking between the hands as you sweep that right foot on through. Spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head for your Virta 1. And then riding your next exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. From down dog, second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Now comes that left leg high, high on the right toes. Trying to keep that left shoulder just as it is, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, bringing that left foot on through. Spinning the right heel down, arms up and over the head for your warrior 1. And then riding that next exhale back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Deep, full breaths. Morning, Markel. Well, Kathy holds down dog. Let me just spin it around. I'll try to be a little bit smoother here. And we can see that beautiful sun rise. And I'll spin the camera back around. So we've got Kathy in the light. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Hail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold. On the inhale, back to your chair pose. Exhaling, taking it a little lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. This time adding an isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows out to the side, shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. So step or jump it hip width apart. Oh, beautiful sun. From here on the inhale, we'll bring the arms out to the side. On the exhale, across the hands in front, we'll bend the knees and invite you to give the wrists a little flick. And then finding the other cross. And let's do 6 of these. And we got 2 more to go each way. 1 more each side. And then back up and hands by our side. From here, let's jump it back in, thin like a pin. Finding our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. And then on the exhale, back to down dog, as you will. Try to be smooth on this one as you work vinyasa or not. Looking at the beautiful sun as it comes up. And as we practice, I always like to think that when we do all this arm waving, that we're encouraging the sun to rise, not that it needs our encouragement. But it's fun to imagine that. From down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Trying to keep the right shoulder just as it is. Lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, trying to get the foot right between the hands if you can. If you go short, no worries. And then finding your warrior one as you bring the hands up and over the head. From warrior one, let's bring the hands back to the hips as we shift weight onto the front foot to lengthen our stance, if appropriate. If you're already long, stay there. We can use those hands to steer our hips front. From here, 4 fingers find the tip of a thumb. We try to touch the front of our wrists as we stretch out the back of our wrists, bringing those bird beaks onto our shoulders to relax the shoulders and square the heart front. From here, finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, elbows wide to the side, open heart, open throat, lifting the chin just a little bit. Beautiful. Reflecting that beautiful sun. And then from here, keeping that openness in 4th and 5th chakra, we'll stretch those hands high to the sky. From here, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, gathering up the energy, the palms face back, and then rebending that front leg, finding cactus arms as we offer that energy out. And let's do that a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in, breathing out and holding. As those elbows move back, the hands come with. I'm going to invite you to ripple those fingers. And then turning warrior 1 into warrior 2 as we serve hands to the heart. Hips are going to swing to face the side wall. You might kick the back foot in. Classically, it's heel to arch alignment, but you could always work wider. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, I'll invite you to paint rainbows. Straightening front leg without locking the knee, palm faces back, inhaling, and then exhaling back to warrior 2. And let's do that a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done. Inhale and exhale. Last 2. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in and holding. Reaching up a little higher, reaching down a little further. Feel the stretch in that front side line. And then back to warrior 2. From here, finding a clasp of the fingers behind the back. Stretching the shoulder blades back and down towards the ribs, open heart, open throat, that's it. And then leading with that heart as we take a forward fold inside the front leg. Take your time. And then when you get into your forward fold, I'll invite you to relax the neck and heavy the head as you draw the hands any amount up and away from the body. Either holding the pose in stillness or adding a little swing, a little sway. Releasing any tension in the neck and shoulders and just letting that tension drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. In our rainbow warrior, I'll encourage a strong tuck of the chin, stretching out the back of the neck as we bring it on up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown as we come back to our warrior 2. From here, transitioning to Trikonasana, the triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. Straightening the front leg without locking the knee, grounding bottom hand down in an appropriate place. Using that left hand to open up left shoulder, and then stretching left hand high to the sky for the triangle pose. As we hold the triangle with every breath in, breathing into your center of balance, about a half hand below the navel. With every breath out from that place, from that center of balance, getting bigger in space as you send energy out through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine. Now exploring our lateral top line. I'll allow you to stretch that top hand front as you turn your heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to the sky. Let's do that a few times. Nice and fluid. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Last two here. Exhale. And inhale. Last one. Exhale and hold as you reach. Long through that back leg, the torso, the arm, the fingers. Feel the stretch. Now the bottom hand joins, pure side motion. We take that twist out of the torso. We inhale, two hands up. And exhale it over. Super loose, super fluid, breathing it up. And coming a little bit lower, yeah. Coming it up. Breathing it lower, use that strength. A couple more, three more times, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Inhale it up. Exhale it over. Last one, breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold. Reach. Arms frame the ears. Feel the stretch, rippling those fingers. And then we have a choice, either back to your triangle or finding a half moon. And I'll suggest setting the half moon up with a pair of hands. So hand finds the hip. We take a big step in. Two hands find the floor as you start to work on balancing on one foot. Lifting that back leg. Left hand can find the hip. Left hand can open up that left shoulder. We can stretch that left hand high to the sky. And Kathy has a beautiful, beautiful half moon. Nice and long through all the limbs, the legs, the arms, the spine. Nice and open across the front of the heart. And the sun is doing something very interesting. I'll show it to you. And then back to Kathy here. I'm going to cue the easy come down here. So if you want to land a long stance, go forward. Otherwise, hand finds the hip. She lands a short stance, shifting the weight into the feet as she comes back to her warrior two, one long arm. And then a windmill of the arms to stretch out her shoulders as she finds her low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you go. Deep full breaths.
Sun is very interesting.
Yeah, it's sneaking behind a big bank of fog now.
Yeah.
Top of the fog is illuminated. Let me just look at that a little bit while you hold your down dog. So nice. And then from this place, we'll get back to our yoga practice, and it is an extended sun salutation here, so always paying attention to that rising sun. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Trying to keep the left shoulder just as it is. Lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip, feel the stretch. And then looking between the hands, we'll try to get the foot right between the hands if you can. If you go short, no big deal. There it is. Now spinning the back heel down, finding your balance, arms up and over the head for warrior one. In warrior one, let's back it off just a little bit. Hands come back to the hips. We can lengthen our stance if appropriate as we shift weight onto the front foot and go a little bit longer if appropriate. Steering those hips front, back hip, front hip, back. Now four fingers find the tip of a thumb as we stretch out our wrist, trying to touch the front of our wrist. Bringing those bird beaks onto our shoulders, squaring the heart front and relaxing those shoulders. Now switching the clasp of the fingers, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. Yeah, lifting that chin just a little bit. Yeah, feel the stretch. And then stretching those hands high to the sky. From here with the breath, we can gather up the energy, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, palms face back. And then on the exhale, finding our cactus arms. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. We got one more to go. Breathing in. Breathing out in, holding. Elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers. And now turning warrior one into warrior two. As hands find the heart, we open up the hips to face the side. You might narrow the stance just a tad. Having said that, if you want to work a little wider for more balance, go for it. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, painting rainbows, breathing in as we gather up the energy with one hand, and then back to our warrior two. Breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Inhale, and exhale. We got two more to go. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Breathing it up and holding. Reaching up a little higher, reaching down a little further, feeling that stretch. And breathing into that stretch. And then back to warrior two. From here, finding a rainbow warrior, finding that other clasp of the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades back and down onto rib shelf, open heart, open throat, and then finding that forward fold inside the front leg. Relaxed neck, heavy, heavy, heavy in the head, and then bringing the hands up and over the head, any amount. As you hold your rainbow warrior, let's just check out how beautiful that is. And either holding your rainbow warrior, or keeping it in relative stillness, or adding a little swing, a little sway, letting any tension drain down through the crown of the head into the earth, or it's gone, at least for now. In our rainbow warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin, stretching out the back of the neck as you bring it on up. Coming back to our warrior two. From here, transitioning to Trikonasana, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. We can deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs. And then grounding that bottom hand down in an appropriate place. We can use that left hand to open up left shoulder. And then stretching hand high to the sky for the triangle. As we hold the shape with every breath in, breathing into your center of balance, about 3 fingers below the navel. With every breath out from that place of power, from your center, connecting with the periphery of the universe as you make yourself bigger in space from the inside out. Now exploring that lateral top line. As we exhale that top hand front, a little twist of the torso, yeah, so work that upper back a little bit. And then back up, yeah, so more like this, yeah, get a little bit bigger on that motion. Again, and exhale it front. Inhale it up. Exhale it front. Inhale it up. We got one more to go. Exhale it front and hold. Back leg strong, long through the torso, the arm, the fingers, feel the stretch. Now the bottom hand joins pure side motion. There's no twist to the torso at all. And exhale it over. Try to come a little bit lower. You really want to use those sideways. Yeah, feel the stretch. Breathing it up. And breathing it over. Breathing it up. And breathing it over. We're halfway done. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 2, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 1, breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach. Allow you to ripple those fingers. Feel the stretch. And then from here, either coming back to the triangle or finding your half moon as hand finds the hip. We take a big step in. I'll suggest setting the base with a pair of hands, lifting that back leg. Second hand can come to the hip. We can use that left hand to open up that left shoulder, and then stretching hand high to the sky for a deep, full experience here. Again, breathing into your center of balance from that place, sending energy out into the universe. And as always, smooth, even breaths in. Smooth, even breaths out. So landing a long stance is certainly an option. Landing a short stance might be a little easier as we ground the foot down, shifting the weight into the feet. If you did shorten the stance, re-lengthening the stance as we come back to our warrior two. And then a big windmill of the arms as we find our low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Again, take your time, find your flow. In whatever shape you choose, down dog's always just one option. You can always child's pose, all fours, wherever you choose to work. Finding an even breath. Inhale, exhale, all aspects where the air goes, where the air doesn't, length, duration, intensity. And while Kathy holds down dog, and while you hold down dog, I'll just show you how beautiful that bridge looks. Those cars are illuminated ghosts upon the Bay Bridge, in front of the Ferry Building here in San Francisco. From down dog, long smooth breath in, long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as she steps or jumps to the front of the mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. On the exhale, folding again. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, glutes engage, a supportive back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'm going to invite you to bring hands to heart, a clasp of the fingers, keeping the heels of the hands together, trying to pull the fingers apart. Elbows out to the side, shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of your center. And then hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump it out, hip width apart. This time on the inhale, let's bring the arms up to one side. On the exhale, we'll pass the hands through center and give our wrist a little flick. And then other side. And let's do 6 of these. With the breath. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up. And hands by our side. Let's jump it in thin like a pin. Let's bring hands to hips. We'll shift weight onto the right foot as we angle the toes out just a tad. And then we'll find a standing half lotus here as we bend that right knee and bring our left ankle on top of the thigh. Sitting down in an invisible chair. Hip hands become heart hands. Heart hands become high hands as we balance on one foot. If the pose feels wobbly, try rippling those fingers. High hands come back to the heart. Heart hands come back to the hips. We can straighten that right leg, lifting left thigh high for the flamingo. The toe faces down. Either staying here or leaning a little bit forward as we go long through that left leg. Lifting that left leg just a little higher. And then flexing the foot, we're going to sweep it on through as we come to Warrior One prep. Hands stay on the hips. So in Warrior One, just so you know, it's heel to heel alignment. Having said that, if that's too tippy, you could always scoot that back foot out a little bit. With our hands on our hips, we can square the hips front. Now 4 fingers find the tip of the thumb. We stretch out our wrists as we try to touch the front of the wrists. Bringing those bird beaks onto our shoulders, relaxing the shoulders and squaring the heart front. Now finding that clasp of the fingers, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then finding a tray in front. From here, breathing in as we gather energy into our center of balance. On the exhale, circling the hands as we offer it out. And let's do that a few times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. We've got 3 more to go. Inhale. And exhale. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding. Elbows move back. The hands come with. Rippling those fingers. Feel the stretch. And now right hand finds right hip. That's the hip of the bent front leg. We're going to find length on the far side, reaching up, straightening front leg without locking knee. Breathing out, bending the leg again as we reach out. And let's do that a few times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. Now we're going to find that twist. I'll suggest keeping back heel down. We can start the twist with the wrist. We can slide to the elbow, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or finding prayer hands, and looking up past that top elbow with that mixture of effort and ease. Back leg is the rudder of the shape, so back leg long, back leg strong. From the strength of that back leg, finding the foundation to go a little deeper into the twist, if appropriate. And that deepness could be just on an energetic level. And sometimes deepness would be keeping the back leg engaged and then maybe letting the pose relax a little bit. Coming out of our twist easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step back as we come back to our lunge. And from our lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Find your flow. So, I'm going to suggest a prone back bending sequence. If you're pregnant or there's something going on with your belly, maybe you want to skip this for a little bit. Otherwise, if you're cool to get onto your belly, I'll invite you to come forward to plank pose. And let's hold the plank for 2 or 3 breaths, feeling that connection between head, hips, and heels. And feel free to use the knees or not. We don't want to sag the low back. We'll find a long, slow push-up all the way down to the floor, yoga style. Elbows shave the ribs. When we get down, I'll suggest Makrasana, the crocodile, across of the forearms, letting forehead be heavy on those forearms, just letting yourself be super, super heavy on the floor. Awesome place to connect with your breath. We've constricted the movement of the diaphragm, so your body has no choice but to rise and fall as you breathe. If you've ever been on a surfboard, you might go back to that place as the waves move under the board gently rises and falls. Those of us who don't brave the ocean as much, maybe you've been on a pool float, and you have that similar rise and fall action within the safe confines of an indoor or outdoor swimming pool. From the crocodile, let's move towards Sphinx pose as we bring our elbows under our shoulders, spreading our fingers wide, shoulder blades back and down onto rib shelf, hips heavy into the mat. Here I'll invite you to focus on back heart. You're just feeling a deepening of back heart as you find a little bit more of a back bend, letting gravity do the work. As we hold the Sphinx, I'll invite you to rock from hip point to hip point, just seeing how that low back feels this morning. Now adding a little swinging of the shoulders as we connect lower and upper back. Now adding a little sway of the head as we connect the crown of our head to the base of our spine. So it's a full body movement, channeling your inner Sphinx or Cobra. Very snake-like with that spine. And then back to center. Ears in line with shoulders, shoulders in line with the hips. From here, moving towards a forearm plank as we tuck the toes. We lift the thighs off the mat. We draw the navel in and up. And then reconnecting the head, the hips, and the heels. One of my favorite exercises, not easy. Stretching out the fascia of the feet and testing out the integrity of our center, rocking from the tips of the toes and back to the base. Tips and base. Tips and base. We've got 2 more to go. Tips and base. 1 more. Tips and hold. Breath in. Breath out. Now back to the base and holding. Breath in. Breath out. Now landing the knees, unfurling the feet, landing those hips, pulling back with the hands to lengthen front heart, and then coming back to Makrasana, switching across to the forearms and letting your forehead be heavy on those forearms. Again, just connecting with the rise and fall of your body as you breathe. From here, let's find an assisted push-up as we bring our hands under our shoulders, tucking the toes, the knees stay down, but we're going to lift the hips up for the inchworm. We want to keep the hips lifting the whole time. We don't want to sag the low back as we push hard into the hands. And then stretching back to a child's pose, nestling our belly inside our thighs. As we hold the child's pose, as you breathe in, letting your belly massage your thighs. As you breathe out, letting your thighs massage your belly. Connecting with a big ball of warmth in the very center of yourself. I usually work the child's pose with palms down. Kathy likes to spin her palms up, just getting a little different effect in the shoulders. And that's the beauty of a flow practice. You can personalize these shapes as long as you stay safe. Now spinning palms down, keeping hips and heels just as they are, I'll invite you to find a side bend to one side, stretching far hip to far heel. And then bringing those hands through center, finding that side bend the other way, stretching other hip to other heel. Now coming back center, finding an all-fours position as we pop on up. And Catherine, can you go sideways? Everyone else say just as you are. We're going to work the cat-cow combo here. I just want you to be able to see her spine here. So breathing in, lifting chin and tail. Exhaling, tucking tail, tucking chin as you round it down. She's added the tucking of the toes. Inhaling, unfurling feet, finding the arc. Exhaling, finding the arc as she rounds. One more time. Breathing in, finding the arc. Exhaling, finding the round. Now throwing child's pose into the mix. Breathing in, finding the arc. And then rounding the spine, sits bones back to the heels. Inhaling up, finding the arc. Exhaling it back to child's pose, finding the round. One more time. Breathing in, finding the arc. Exhaling, drawing it back. Adding side to side, breathing in, finding the arc. And then on the exhale, back to one heel. Inhaling, finding the arc. On the exhale, back to that other heel. 2 more times each side. Breathing in, coming up center. Exhaling it back. Inhaling up center. Exhaling it back. 1 more each side, breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in, up center. Breathing out, taking it back. And then coming back to an all-fours position. Walking the hands just a little bit front. And we'll get to down dog with the cat-dog stretch. Breathing in, finding the arc. And then tucking the toes, lifting the knees, rounding the spine, tailbone high, high, high. And then finding your neutral spine as you push the hands down and stretch those heels down. From here, I'll invite you to walk the dog, bending one leg deeply and then the other. Yeah, feel free to come back to that other orientation. Stretching it out. How does your body feel this morning? What feels tight? What feels right? And either hanging out here or one last time, cycling through Vinyasa. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step. Or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold. On the inhale, stay low, back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, hands by our side. If you're not already there, jumping it in thin like a pin. Shifting weight to the left as we angle the left toes out. Finding our standing half lotus second side, bending left knee, bringing right ankle on top of the thigh. Sitting down in that invisible chair. Hip hands become hard hands. Hard hands become high hands. And if it feels wobbly, try wiggling those fingers. If the hands went high, they come back to the heart. Hard hands come back to the hips. We straighten that left leg, lifting right thigh high, the toe points down. Either staying here in the flamingo or leaning a little bit forward as we lengthen through that leg. Soft point to the toe. Lifting that leg a little higher. And then flexing the foot as we sweep it on through, finding our warrior one prep, hands stay on the hips. One more time this morning, steering the hips front. 4 fingers find the tip of the thumb, stretching at our wrists as we try to touch the front of our wrists. Bringing those bird beaks onto our shoulders to relax the shoulders and steer the heart front. Switching the clasp of the fingers, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then finding a tray in front. From here, gather the energy in. On the exhale, offering it out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out in. Holding. One more time this morning. The elbows move back. The hands come with. Rippling those fingers. Now left hand finds left hip, that's that bent front leg. We find length on the right side, reaching up and reaching out. Reaching up and out. Up and out. We're halfway done. Up and out. Last 2. Up and out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and then reach, reach, reach. We can start the twist with the wrist. Sliding to the elbow. finding those prayer hands, either looking down off to the side or up past that top elbow with that mixture of effort and ease. Back leg long, back leg strong from the strength of that leg, finding the strength and the stability to go a little deeper. And that might even be just like finding a little more relaxation because you're not scared you're going to fall. Or you might want to crank it out as you twist those internal organs. Wherever you choose to work, even breath. So if you're cranking it out, maybe back it off a little bit. If you're super easeful, maybe turn it up a notch. Always finding that perfect balance between your effort and your ease. Coming out of our twist easefully as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step back as we find our low lunge. And from low lunge, one more time this morning, back to down dog, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. From down dog, I'll invite you to find a child's pose as you find your knees on the ground, nestling that belly in between your thighs. This time I'll suggest a cross of the forearms, just to let those shoulders relax. I'll invite you to let your forehead rest on those forearms, stimulating that third eye, your sixth chakra. Also a great place to release and relax any tension in the back of the head, the neck, the shoulders, that little pressure of the brow upon something solid. From our child's pose, I'll suggest coming to a kneeling hero pose as we sit on our heels, the inner knees connect. One palm supports the other as we find our breath. If this is too much for your knees, you could always sit up like this. As we sit, just coming back to an easeful breath, relaxed shoulders, long through all sides of the neck, a slight tuck of the chin. As we come back to that internal focus, just watching as our breath flows in and out. From here, let's bring our feet off to one side, and let's do a long, slow roll down onto our backs. We can start from neutral to tall spine. From here, tucking tail and chin as we slowly roll it on down. Slow, slow, slow. When we get down, I'll suggest full body stretch, low back lifts as we lay the head down, arms by the ears, and then sweeping hands by your sides, widening your thighs as you find your Shavasana. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this morning. And I'll show you the sky while you rest and relax for a couple of breaths. It's awfully pretty. I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. Moving your minds before you move your bodies. Bringing your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out. Now shaping that breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. Now wiggling fingers and toes as we invite more prana into our bodies, more circulation, more life force. Circling wrists and ankles as we draw that energy in towards center. Now drawing your knees in towards your heart, Apanasana. We use our thighs to massage our belly as we gently lift and lower our low back and hips. Lots of ways to come up. I'll invite you to reach back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. Hands come back to the shins. We can start to rock it front to back, until we find ourselves in a cross-legged sit. As we sit grounded down through our sits bones, I'll invite you to bring the heels of your hands to your thighs, pushing the thighs away as we sit up a little straighter. a little taller. 5 fingers of one hand find the ground. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. From this place, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, trying to get both of us in the frame here, and bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga, and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for practicing with us. Not sure how the camera worked, but I want to thank you all at home. I want to thank Kathy for practicing with us this morning. And I always love how namaste sounds like have a nice day. So everybody have a nice day.
Namaste.
And namaste.